Mr. Patterson, thank you. We're referring to your budget presentation. Let us talk a little bit about the ministry's plans for infrastructure development, maybe starting from Georgetown countrywide.
No, well, Georgetown, obviously, we're going to be doing, repairing some roads and avenues. I mean, completely under this budget, we don't intend to do a lot of patching. Therefore, be maintenance. We'll be redoing certain roads. I mean, particularly the main thoroughfares for St. John Road. I mean, when you head up to the top by Durban, Cemetery Road areas, that needs work being done. We're doing work in Sophia, as I said. There's a ring road around Sophia, which will be completely done. So therefore, we know we can't do all the roads in Sophia, but at least your access and ingress into Sophia will be much better. We're actually going to put up modern lighting on the roadways as well. To the area, you would feel more comfortable traveling in the evenings. Yes. We're going to bridge getting over from Sophia to Guy Hawk. I mean, there's temporary makeshift structure there, so that'll obviously assist as well. And so generally, but I have a plan whereby the plan is this budget cycle now for 2015. We'll be doing areas that were never done before. So some residents can feel assured that there's not.
I remember that's a new initiative you're bringing to this whole public infrastructure ministry.
Yes, areas that never done before. Can't leave anybody behind, so definitely won't be leaving any residents behind, irrespective of wherever it is, or irrespective of whoever people may perceive you would have voted for. That it does not factor into it. It's just that certain areas should not be in the state they are, so I'm going to try to get to them. I can't get to everything within the next 4 months, but I know that by the end of 2016, most of the untouched areas will be.
Let us talk a little bit about drainage and irrigation work, strengthening our that system, and maybe clearing some of the drains that are causing flooding over time that has not been gotten attention over some time. What are the plans of your ministry?
Well, that as you know, I actually entered the ministry in a baptism of water. I went through two floods of Georgetown. I've started, meaning this budget, we have plans to, continue the work you probably will see around Georgetown. And it's not only Georgetown, it's in other areas, other low-lying areas. We do have issues with some of the canals because there are occupants on those, but we have a solution for that. We're maybe not right now in this budget, but we're making proprietary works to have a new housing area open up in the city, so we see if we can get the occupants relocated there to allow us to get to some of the hard to access areas. We're looking at between now and next year, before Independence Day, to actually do a comprehensive clearing, particularly in the city, in the low-lying areas. So therefore, we can celebrate our 50th anniversary somewhat flood-prone, less
clean environment.
Clean environment. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the residents and the communities that continue to call in daily, seeking assistance to for us to help them clear up their communities. I want to encourage you. I want you to encourage your friends not to litter. The city, it's not where it is, but it's getting cleaner. It's noticeable. And with your help, we'll definitely be able to continue this. It's not very difficult to stop littering. It's just a personal thing. You just hold on to your garbage until you get a garbage receptacle, and clean the areas. And if you need help, that's what we're there for. What the ministry is there for. Ministry, not only my ministry, ministry communities. And long as residents continue doing that, I think we will all go well.
Minister, what about the Parika to Goshen Road?
Yes, that project, as you would know, under the previous administration was under GGMC. As you know, it's a policy decision of our government that road infrastructure comes under the correct place, and purely because we have the technical capacities. So right now what we're doing is the project is being reassessed in the sense that we want to ensure that we have the correct alignment as opposed to taking on a project just that was done before, because obviously you know how that some of these projects may have special interests. People have special interests, so therefore the alignment may not be the best for the city and for the country. So soon as that's done, we will do assessment. I think the environmental assessments and those things, and we will would like to proceed with that and get that done within our 2020 vision. And we also are considering, in that same study, I'm going to ask them to consider bridging over to Bartica. Bartica will be a town within the next next year, before next year, sometime in April or May, we're going to declare it a town. So we have this certain proprietary work, but that's one of the ideas behind the continuation of that project.
In the same breath, Linden to Lethem Road.
Yes, and that is a hallmark project of ours. Right now, I mean, I know there have been numerous studies done for that, but right now what we are doing is a transportation study, and that is to determine which is the best and most economical solution for that route. We are committed to doing to doing that stretch, but maybe after that study, maybe it may be determined may have a light railway rather than just a road alone, both, or even simply a road only. So that is a study that's being executed now, so that we can actually make that determination and proceed apace immediately afterwards.
In terms of any other highlights, any other major project from the public infrastructure ministry?
Well, in this budget here, I mean, there are several others which would be long-term, but in this budget, there's an initiative that we've put in place, whereby the new towns, which is like Mahdi, we're going to start with Mahdi, we're going to repave them. I mean, so no more you're going to go through a town and the roads, the potholes and those things like that. I mean, we're going to repave them with 3 to 4 inches of asphalt concrete. We're going to go to Mahdi. Next year, we straight up to Bartica. Then we go to Mavruma, all the areas that stated to be tongue. So therefore, when you go into it, you must know you're in a tongue, a Guyanese tongue. It must not look anymore or feel anymore, like a mining outpost. There's a tree planting initiative as well, which we're going to plant the trees around the country to ensure that we get cleaner and greener environment, so that people feel comfortable just living in there. And on the energy side, I have several unserved village communities. We definitely try to get to them. Some of them will be there this cycle. It is our idea to ensure that we move away from how business was done before. Villages should not be victimized because of their perception of where they are or who the inhabitants are. I have a policy of equal access to everybody. I think that we have to bring this country up collectively.
Minister, what about, I know you mentioned Mahdia, but what about other hinterland areas where installing infrastructure is possible? What are the plans for those areas?
Well, in this budget, I have $641 odd million to be expended on hinterland roads, which is quite sizable to spend in 4 months. We are going to do certain roads. I mean, Linden, Kokwani, we're going to get to that. Some of the trails, being Peruni, that's one of the areas where the miners have complained that it's in a poor state. We're going to get there, and certain villages in 1, 2, 7, I think 8 and 9, we're going to get there to do work as possible. I've given my team an instruction. I don't want any patchwork. I don't want any cheap work. It's no use us trying to do a thin layer of something to stretch it all the way. We've got to build a solid structure. Next year, if we only can do half the road, at least the commuters have a very good first half. Next year, we will get to the other half. So therefore, we're not going to try and stretch the money to make it work. We're actually going to do something so therefore it could last during my term. I don't want to be going back in. Every year there's a Lethem Road, and every year the rainy season, people come and complain. we're going to do it in phases to ensure that, and eventually that we would have something worthwhile.
How is the work of the task force coming along? I know you'd mentioned that they were supported by a secretariat who was doing the preparatory work so that they'd get right into business when they start. How is that coming along?
Oh, I must say I'm quite pleased with them actually, because right now what they're doing is consultation in the regions, because it's a national task force. Each region has set up a subcommittee. So right now the task force is actually going out to the regions, seeing their trouble spots, seeing their needs, because of course the regions would have the background knowledge. Everything is up and functioning. They made a presentation, I think, this morning to the Tushau's, because obviously at the National Tushau Conference, so they in their communities would have drainage issues and those things like that. So the task force is working well. The first report will come out in 6 months' time. Government is committed to support the program whenever they come out with it. So I do think that we'll have this. Finally, we'll have a holistic plan. We'll be eligible for some funding from the Japanese government for drainage, and they are assessing it. So in the end, I think that this is not going to be a talk shop or anything like that, like several other task force and commissions you have that would have died out. Just had nice fanfare. I'm ensuring that I get weekly reports, deliverables. So I do think in the end of the day, what the final product will be excellent.
Minister, and finally, we're talking about a good life, with a fresh approach to a good life in a green economy. Where do you see us in terms of our infrastructure development, maybe by 2020?
That can't be a final question. That should have been the first question, because there's so many things that we envisage. Bridging the Demerara, a new fixed structure in the Demerara. We're talking about a new road, a roadway connecting from Sand Hill, going all the way to linking back up with that same Parika Goshen Road. It's all nice virgin land. We're talking about Molson Creek to Oriala to Molson Creek work. We're talking about redevelopment of Stellens. I have a proposal which I'm going to send to cabinets, and about redevelopment of both the Freedom Hoop and the Georgetown Stellen. That is prime land, prime commercial land. What we're supposed to be doing is not just anchoring ships there. We're supposed to be doing in any other country that would be in riverside property with commercial venues and those things like that. I have a proposal. As you see it now, it's not the final thing. I have a proposal on doing some boardwalks in the seawalls area. Which is both will help with our sea defense work, as well as make a space for people on Sundays. So therefore, it's done. It's quite easily done. So 2020, we should have a transformed city and a transformed country.
Minister, certainly we'll sit and talk again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.